All right, let's go over some more decimals uh, and basically just kind of decimals basics, how they relate to fractions. Um, so, last video we did go over um, how decimals relate to fractions, but I figure I can get a little more in depth in this video. So, let's start with 23 hundredths, or 23 over 100. That, in decimal form, equals 0.23. Now, I know this because uh, um, both of these are actually called 23 hundredths, and 0.23 is also called 23 hundredths. Now, how decimals work, to go over, is this is in the ones place, right? So we could have 740, okay? Any time that you have a decimal, it is after the ones place. So we have a decimal here, and it is, let's just say, 650. So it's 740.654. Okay? So let's just erase this and have it be 0.654. Now, this is called 654 thousandths. Now, naming a decimal, the most important thing is to figure out what number is in the last place, right? Or I should say, what is the place value of the number that's furthest to the right? So in this case, I know that this is tenths. Okay. This one is hundredths. And this one is, the 4 is in the thousands. Okay? And I know that because this is, anytime you have decimals, this is the first number after the decimal is always tenths. The second one is hundredths. The third one is thousandths. So we're always just saying the number, okay, that's here, and then whatever the last digit is in, the digit that's furthermost to the right, is how you would name it. So this is 654 thousandths because the 4 is in the thousands place. Now, if I were to put this 0.65, it would just be 65 hundredths because the 5 is in the hundredths place. Now, if I were to put a 0 here, I could say this is 650 hundredths. But, or I'm sorry, 650 thousandths. But the 0 does not change the value. So basically, you don't need to include it, and you can just drop it. Okay, so we can just erase that, and this would be 65 hundredths. Now, the reason that 65 hundredths and equals 650 thousandths is because if we were to divide top and bottom by 10, and when you were to divide both top and bottom by 10, and you can as long as you can divide each number by the same thing, the value of the fraction stays the same. It would be 65 hundredths, right? 650 divided by 10 is 65. 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. So I could add zeros here, but it doesn't change the value. Now, if you were possibly subtracting or adding decimals, it might be useful to actually add the zeros. So if I were adding 65 hundredths with 453 thousandths, it might be useful to put the zero here to do it just as a place filler. So, but I guess that would be for a different lesson. But basically, when you are naming a number, and let's say we just want to write 9 thousandths, what we're doing is we are just making sure that whatever number you say, the last digit of it is in the thousands place. So in this case, 9 thousandths would look like this. Now if I were to say 59 thousandths, I have to make sure that the last digit of 59 is in the thousands place. So the 9 is once again in the thousands place. So this would be 59 thousandths. And if I were to say 459 thousandths, remember, the last digit has to be in the thousands place, so it would be 459 thousandths. So the key for naming decimals, I would say, is putting the last digit of the number in the place that you need it to go. As in, we're talking about thousandths, so this would be 9 thousandths, and the 9 would go in the thousands place. If we're talking about 59 thousandths, then the last digit of 59 is always going to be in the thousands place. And if we're talking about 459 thousandths, then once again, the last digit of the 9, or of 459, will be in the thousands place. So hopefully that kind of cleared things up.